In the nightcap, the U.S. faced Costa Rica. Early in the first half, Max Arfsten took down Kenneth Vargas in the box. Calvo converts, 1-0 Ticos. Later in the first half, Malik Tillman taken down in the box, but he missed his penalty, smacking the post. The U.S. did get an equalizer before halftime. Diego Luna with a deflected shot. Then early in the second half, Arfsten 2-1. The U.S. looked to be in good shape, but lo and behold, Alonso Martinez tied it 2-2 and then almost won it late, smacking a shot off the post. We go to penalties. In the shootout, Matt Freese comes up huge with 3 saves. He denied Juan Pablo Vargas, Calvo, and Rojas. The U.S. did miss twice, Berhalter and Tolkien, but Damian Downs converted the winner. The U.S. off to their 13th straight Gold Cup semifinals.
All right, so we're going to get to Matt Freese in a second and give him his due.
By the way, David did all of that off the top of his head.
He's like
I know,
30
seconds ahead of the highlights.
Don't even try to understand it.
I have a cheat sheet in front of me, and I'm following it. I'm like, that is correct.
Yeah, don't even try to understand
Vargas,
the
Calvo,
workings.
Rojas, who missed. Yep, that's David Mosse.
He's incredible.
You have quite a lot of notes.
I have. Today was a notey day because they all went to penalty kicks. There's a lot to track.
All right, so let's start off with the lineup. Not any crazy surprises. We have seen all of these players throughout the group stage, and some of them returned. It was a question that we were asking ourselves before the ball actually kicked as to where Sebastian Berhalter was going to show up in this. They were kind of all over the place. But again, somebody could have picked this lineup given what they saw in the group stage, and you would have said, yeah, that's it. So again, nothing crazy when it came to the lineup. Then Max Arfsten, I didn't think the team had a good first half in general. I was disappointed in the first half. I didn't think that either outside backs had a good game, and certainly not a good half. And I'm not taking away from scoring a goal. It's really important. I thought that there was a response after halftime. So whatever Pochettino said, because he didn't change anybody, but whatever he said, they came out with a little bit more urgency. I think that was a word that was used a lot on set today. But this was a feel-good moment ultimately for this team today. And, we just got off air, and sports is not a place for perspective. You have to, lose yourself in sports. And in this moment, I think it's completely fair and right for us, given all of the craziness that we've seen with this team, both on and off the field, to kind of have this moment, celebrate this moment. It wasn't pretty at times, and it's certainly not the best that this team can play, but they did what they needed. And like I said, we'll get to Matt Freese in a second. So those are the general reaction to the thoughts. So sing while you're winning, but don't break your arm patting yourself on the back for beating this average Costa Rica team in the fashion that they did and going to yet another semifinal, which has been done time and time again by the United States.
On the starting lineup, I was surprised. We talked about this leading up to the game. We all thought that front four of McGlynn, Tillman, Luna, and Ajiman had developed a pretty good understanding. He wouldn't want to break that up. And instead, McGlynn was the odd man out. He pushed Berhalter further up the field and started Adams and De La Torre sitting. I felt like it was an overly conservative lineup against a Ticos team that we all knew was going to bunker down. And Pochettino took a long time to make subs in the second half, even when the U.S. looked tired and the momentum had shifted Costa Rica's favor. So he gets away with it today, but I thought he made some questionable decisions.
It looked like they were losing their legs. It looked like they were losing that momentum. After that Alonso Martinez goal in the 71st minute, and then Martinez in the 85th minute hitting the post. I mean, not just hitting the post, but Matt Freese just kind of watching it whistle by him and like, boy, I hope that doesn't find net. They were in trouble. Remember, though, Tillman had some opportunities as well, had a screamer in the 76th. So super entertaining, fantastic. In the end, I'm with you, Lex. Like, it's going to mask some of the issues. Yeah. But again, this program, and when I say this program, that's the fan base. That's the TV network. That's the management. That's the players. They needed a moment like this, right? There were moments against Trinidad, Tobago, and Saudi Arabia and Haiti, but they needed something like this on a big stage where their backs were against the wall and they had to come from behind for the first time. And then we get in a pressure situation like penalty kicks. And oh, by the way, they had seen two favorites crash out already via penalty kicks, and the U.S. able to survive, advance, and move on. I think this was one of those wins that can really help them going forward as a unifying force. Okay. For everybody. Like, I even felt like the fan base was back into it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that was God, we needed that.
We talked about this reclamation project that is the U.S. men's national team and the start of it here at the Gold Cup. And it was on the precipice there of going a different way. But people tuned in. I think the numbers are going to be very big in terms, like I said, of the number of people that were just on a Sunday afternoon. And especially when it goes to penalties, people hear that and they come running. So they were able to see that. Before we get the penalties, I thought that Patrick Agiman up top, actually, I thought that was his best game from a Gold Cup perspective. I know he didn't score, but he did a lot of work up there. He was a nuisance in the best positive way. I thought he really kind of, more so in this game than any other, played that traditional striker, feed the big guy, held the ball really well, and was the fulcrum for a lot of these combination plays that went in and out. I don't know if Malik Tillman had a good game. I really don't. I don't.
I 100% think he did.
You do?
Yeah.
I don't. And maybe that's just my perception of it.
I'm surprised you say that.
Yeah.
I'm caught off guard by that.
Yeah.
If he had made the penalty kick in regulation, would that have changed things?
No, I didn't even think about the penalty kick. I just think it was, for me, at least watching it. And again, if I go back and watch it, maybe I'll have a completely different direction. But right coming off it, fresh off it. Look, don't get me wrong. I think he has used this Gold Cup better than anybody to place himself in the position to potentially start. But I don't know. After that game, I just couldn't come to a clear-cut decision. You might be saying, well, you're crazy. He was awesome there. I just didn't think so. I thought that, let's see, Diego Luna, I actually thought this was a really good game from him, and the individual stuff that he did, there's nobody else that can do that. That's what makes him special and unique out there. Again, Chris Richards and Tim Ream were wonderful. I did not like the outside backs. Tyler Adams had a kind of quiet game. It's not necessarily a bad thing.
Had a good penalty kick.
Yeah, good penalty kick. But he had a kind of a quiet game for someone that has kind of commanded games in the midfield.
You mentioned the subs. It was Downs for De La Torre, and then he made a double sub, McGlynn and Tolkien for Arston and Luna. And Luna was not happy about coming off, and I agree with him. I don't think he should have been subbed out in that situation.
It's very. You could hear him. You could see him kind of swearing under his breath as he made his way to the side. And it's okay. I don't think Pochettino cares.
By the way, Pochettino probably loved that.
He doesn't,
right? Because
exactly.
This is a warrior that wants to be on the field all the time. Dude was running nonstop. Like every time you looked on the field, he was there. He was at the corner flag. He's up. I think at that point, he was just like, hey, man, I don't know your legs that well. I think they need a breather, and let's just get something fresh in. I agree. Luna's a big winner here, and the Vamos goal celebration.
It's going to be a meme, and it should be, and just a wonderful moment. Turning to the camera and just great. So.
It was disappointing when they took the 2-1 lead. They dominated the early part of the second half. It looked like they were going to tack on another. Navas made a great save on Chris Richards. And then to allow a very limited Costa Rica team back into the game the way they did. But to your point about why I think most people are prone to take a glass half full view of this is a likable team.
Yes.
Tyler Adams aside, it's a bunch of unheralded, scrappy guys that are just fighting to be on the roster in 26, and you can sense that. So I think people are more likely to view the positives here instead of harping on the negatives.
Well, there is no one that is probably more likable tonight than the goalkeeper they had. So that does mean that it's time now for our boost of the game presented by Yerba Madre. Yerba Madre, the boost you need when you want to win. Drink Yerba Madre and come to life. All right, none other than Matt Freese. He had a very good game.
Did he?
Okay, all right. So here we go.
Did he have a good game? I don't know. He kind of spilled that one save that led to
the second goal.
The second goal.
Yes.
Right. So that one he could have corralled. That one, his play with his feet. Obviously, everybody's on pins and needles now when the ball comes to his feet.
Now he just kicks it as
far
as...
Now he just blast it.
Which is fine. I mean, he learned his lesson there.
So, when in doubt, send it out. So,
exactly, yeah. So he could have maybe done better with the shot because, he spilled that rebound. Maybe he uses his feet and goes on. But as he said in the interview after the game, penalties, they're kind of my thing. Which is a wonderful quote. I think it bears repeating, and when it comes to the way that I look at penalties, and I think the way that penalties should be looked at, they are not a crapshoot. It's not about luck. It's not a flip of a coin. They are practiced. They are a skill. I would think that Mauricio Pochettino would have practiced this week, having a week of training too, to get ready. And certainly when it comes to your goalkeeper, conventional, theory, wisdom is that you save one, and that's a good job. nobody ever thinks about a goalkeeper saving 3. But Matt Freese, to his point, man, oh man, even the ones he didn't save, he guessed. So he was in the head. He understood. He felt the vibe. He smelled whatever he needed to smell in that moment. And yeah, it is his kind of thing.
It was Emi Martinez-like, his performance today. And, hearing you do that spiel, boy, Landon really did a great job imitating it the other night.
Exactly. Landon can do it verbatim because he's heard me do it so many times. But, it's because a lot of people do say, oh, well, it's just a crapshoot and I can't believe they lost in it. No, you practice it. You train on it. You put your best players out there to give you the best chance. And when you have a goalkeeper like this, I don't know if Pochettino knew he had a goalkeeper like this, but it's great. And for Matt Freese, the redemption of the mistake he made earlier in the tournament, because he hasn't really been tested, is important. When it comes to the competition, this also bears repeating. This is not a situation where Mauricio Pochettino, from a goalkeeping perspective, went to Matt Turner, the incumbent, and said, hey, you're my number one, but in this Gold Cup, I know exactly who you are, but in this Gold Cup, I need to give some other players some time. All right. And then when it gets down to the nitty gritty, either in the tournament or when we get to the World Cup next summer, you're my number one. No, that's not the case, because there is a competition. Yes, I guess he knows what Matt Turner is, but he knows what Matt Turner is in this moment, is a Matt Turner who's not playing and therefore could be problematic going forward. So Matt Freese, I don't even think was his first choice to give this opportunity to. Zach Steffen probably was, and maybe others. But, things change. And Matt Freese has grabbed it with both hands, and certainly this is a wonderful moment for him to celebrate, to him to feel kind of validated and vindicated to a certain extent. And he was wonderful today. And as Landon Donovan said, a star is born. We'll see how long this star lasts. Maybe it lasts to next summer, but it's fun to see these guys taking advantage of the opportunity and planting those seeds that we talk about in Pochettino's head.
And this would be the Harvard-educated Matt Freese, right?
No, I love that.
I'm already throwing it in the script because I know you're going to add it if it's not there.
That. I think that's a great hook to the casual American fan. Like, wait a second, this dude went to Harvard, and he's playing for the U.S. men's national team. You know me, I'm a sucker for those college folks.
To be fair, Harvard could use some positive news out there. So well done, Matt Freese. All right. So when it comes to this result, yes, you celebrate it, Rob Stone. Are you someone who is going to look at it and be practical and realistic about how much it means? Because this is not a good Costa Rica team, and this is something that's been done before. Or do you think it's worthy of praise, worthy of celebration, or you just think it's a cathartic release for whether it's the players or the fans saying, "Hey,
needed.
let's just have a party." It doesn't matter how it came.
Can we just enjoy things as an American soccer fan right now? Right? Like, why do I have to put parameters and rules around it? Right? It has been so long since so many people have been this invested about the U.S. men's national team. And again, here we are sitting, what are we, Mosse? 347 days out from the World Cup. We should be like, we should know every player on the team. We should be embracing them. We should be talking about, are we round of 16? Are we Elite 8? How far can we really go? Instead, it's this, hi, how are you? It's like we should have name tags, right? Like, I'm Matt Freese. Nice to meet you. Well, guess what? Now I care about Matt Freese. I'm a little bit more, my mom is invested. Yep. I think my mom just ordered a Matt Freese goalkeeper jersey right now in the neon green. By the way, Joy Stone would look great in a Matt Freese goalkeeper jersey. But I think more it's, everybody needed a moment like this. And I know the staff and the players behind the scenes, once they come down from this high, are going to be like, okay, guys, a lot of work still to be done. It was a Costa Rica team that was missing some of its star players. Guess what? We're missing some of our star players. The job is still out there to handle. Go to St. Louis, a great American soccer city, Wednesday. Get yourself to the final next Sunday in Houston. Then we can really talk about where we are right now. But I just think this was something that the American soccer world needed and should rightfully celebrate it tonight with a yerba madre or something a little more harder.
Teams that win tournaments often have one game when they weren't at their best and they have to grind it out. So we'll see what they do the rest of the way. If they play well the next two games and win this Gold Cup, then nobody's going to harp on the fact that they weren't at their best against Costa Rica. But if they play poorly and lose to Guatemala, then the narrative becomes, well, that's two bad performances in a row and it got caught up with them the second time around.
You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops twice a week right here on my very own YouTube page. The only way to stay up to date is to hit that subscribe button down below. Size the day. and see you soon.